The Phoenix Suns agreed on a blockbuster trade, sending Kevin Durant to Houston for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. The Rockets are one of Durant's preferred landing spots. He learned of this trade while he was on the stage at Fanatics Fest yesterday. This was surreal. It all actually happened. And then he spoke about it with Kay Adams.
You know, when people could just hang your career in a balance like that and just choose what they want to do with your career is a nerve-wracking feeling, but being able to kind of dictate what you want to do and then being with a team that values you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Kevin, people are going to hold on to that dictate what you want to do. Did you have a hand in this?
Most definitely.
How much of it?
I mean, they asked me where I wanted to go, some of my destinations I gave to them, and here we are.
He had all the leverage.
It was a surreal thing, though, right? Like, I mean, you're in the middle of your day, you're getting ready for Game 7, and then all of a sudden, like, I start getting notes, like, KD got you. There's no way in the world that happened on the day of Game 7, and then you start to realize, oh, my God, it happened while he's on the stage. Right, this is the moment. Yeah. Like, literally, the news breaks while he's sitting up there, and all these people are documenting it and whatever. So, Windy, the circumstances are what they are. The bottom line of it is Kevin Durant is a Houston Rocket.
Yeah, I think what he said there in that interview was very important. I think the Warriors could have traded for him last February. He said, I don't want to go, and the Warriors backed off. I think last week, the Timberwolves could have traded for him. He said he didn't want to go. The Timberwolves backed off. And I think the Suns would have gotten better returns in both of those trades. But he had agency. He used that leverage. He ends up going to Houston. You say, why does Houston do this deal? You want to rank the Houston young players and their draft capital, you're ranking 6, 7 names and lists before you get to Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks and the number 10 pick. And I understand the number 10 pick, it's a lottery pick, it's quality. But the Rockets didn't feel that they were going to get a player in this draft that was materially going to help them. And they end up landing an offensive juggernaut, which is exactly what they needed.
Right, exactly what they needed.
Go ahead, Keith.
No, I just, you know, a little bit more respect on Jalen's name. I don't think he was a 6'7" prospect.
But no, seriously, lift it, Keith, lift it.
I mean,
no,
and I
think
they
your
were ready
opinion,
to
but I
move
don't
on.
think that's their
this
opinion.
is just going by what I've seen.
Yeah, but they want to move off his contract.
They've been trying to trade him. They were trying to move him.
Well, there's your answer. They moved a guy that they wanted to trade.
Yeah,
for Kevin Durant.
Let's not argue over this part of it.
Just because they moved him, don't mean that he was a 6 or 7 best, the lowest.
You got to get some talent for a great
player. 6 or 7 value.
I think what they gave up for him stunned me. Or more to the point, what Phoenix got for him at this stage of his career. I did an essay on this last week, people. If you're talking about Kevin Durant as a diminished player, you're just not paying attention. It's not true. Kevin Durant, in his right now, there is one player in history to have 3 consecutive seasons scoring 25 points a game on 50-40 shooting. It's Kevin Durant, and that streak is active. He's done it the last 3 years, and I gave you numbers that demonstrate that his defense has been well above average. He's got blocks and steals, and when he played, his team was over 500 this year. When he didn't, they were 3-17. Kevin Durant, like Steph, and like LeBron, has not really diminished that much. I think that the Rockets got him for, comparatively speaking, a song, and it is an unbelievably good trade for them.
I think it puts them right there with OKC to win the Western Conference to get to the NBA Finals. I mean, look, you're talking about a guy that hasn't averaged under 25 points since his rookie year. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a guy who hasn't shot under 50% since 2011. Like, think about that. I mean, those numbers are staggering, right? And the fact that now you combine him with Şengün, with the level of what they play, I also think Ime Udoka is probably the biggest winner walking away from this with the culture he's been able to create in
an
Houston.
Extension.
And the physical, the extension, the timing of that, right? And with other jobs up in the air, New York potentially, other teams calling. But also, guys, the physicality that Houston plays with. If there's one thing we learned in these playoffs, you need physical pieces.
Well, they lost one.
Well, they lost one in Dillon Brooks. I think that's a major loss. That's an underrated loss. But they still have all the pieces there.
He said it there. They asked me where I wanted to go. So he had control. They asked me where I wanted to go. They gave him that control. They gave him that respect, which he earned and he deserved. And all the numbers you say, Greeny, tell you this is still one of the great players in the game. But does it feel like a blockbuster? Does it feel like a blockbuster?
Yes, it does.
How can it feel like a blockbuster when
because of the numbers that we just spoke about?
When the number 2 seed stayed the number 2 seed.
Yeah, but we all thought that Houston was punching above their weight. Like everybody, most of the people I've talked to in NBA circles, when we went to the playoffs, everybody was like, oh yeah, we want to target Houston because we feel like they're young, they're inexperienced.
Okay.
They won't feel that way anymore.
No, they do not.
There were
but they feel
playoff
very
games
different.
where they didn't play Jalen Green down the stretch of the game. Down the stretch of a playoff game next year, the ball's going to be in Durant's hands. And the real thing about this from Phoenix's standpoint, when they traded for Durant, it was a closed market. Durant went to the Nets and said, I only want to be a Phoenix Sun. And yet they paid 4 picks, 3 swaps, really good young players. Again, we have a closed market. Durant's saying, I only want to go to Miami, Houston, or San Antonio. But they didn't get a premium back. So they paid a premium in a closed market and sold in a closed market.
That's what I meant by it doesn't feel like a blockbuster.
And part of the story, Keith, is going to be about the teams that didn't get him. And I saw a lot of reaction yesterday on social, particularly about the Miami Heat, which was one of the 3 teams that KD had on his list. And they seemed not willing to part with some players. What did you think of that, Keith?
It's disappointing to me. I remember Wendy said earlier, obviously he has to agree to go to Miami, and they were one of the teams, right? They tried to get him at the deadline, but for an underwhelming package, right? And no disrespect to the players that was involved that Phoenix wanted, but the package wasn't, like Miami has to give that up. Not only like they lost Jimmy Butler, but a chance to get a guy like Kevin Durant with the way the East is going to look in the next couple of years. Pairing him with a Bam Adebayo and a Tyler Herro, and not really losing a lot of core pieces, right? You lose Jaime Jaquez, you lose Hayward Smith and Jokic. But what Miami does is they grow their players, so it don't really matter what they will have lost, right? Because they're a team that will get G League players and grow them. They're a team that will get that has homegrown players. So I'm really disappointed in Miami for not making this happen, especially, like I said, with the loss of Jimmy Butler, for that package. But for that package, they have to get this done.
Keith, think about this, though. The 2 teams that have supposedly, Miami not going all in on all their assets for Kevin Durant, and the New York Knicks who said, hey, we're not interested. There's still this guy in Milwaukee that just because he said in Brazil that, hey, I hope I can win a championship with the Bucks. Everybody thinks he's going to be with the Bucks. And think about Miami holding on to those assets to be all in on the Giannis spree.
And
same with New York.
And
San Antonio.
Is it all in?
I mean, if you weren't all in on Kevin Durant, you better be all in on Giannis.
So let's make sure we're all clear.
No, I'm saying for Miami.
Right.
I'm saying for Miami, too.
Is Miami, those pieces all in?
Yeah.
Is that an all-in thing?
So,
or you're not losing Bam Adebayo or Tyler Herro?
I would just say that the Heat had an opportunity to put a better package on the table at the trade deadline and this last week and elected not to. So let's look at their actions over words.
I mean, that's the Miami Heat way.
Their actions
that's what they think. But I'm saying as a player and watching it, I'm not going to not give a chance not to take Kevin Durant for that package. That's my whole thing. That package of players with the 20th pick for a Hall of Famer and a guy that averaged 25 points a game with an up-in-the-air East, I'm doing that every day of the week.
And what do those actions tell
Twice
us?
on Sundays.
Yep. But what do those actions tell us?
Miami Heat like to do stuff a certain way.
Those actions tell us they're waiting for something. They're waiting for something else. They're waiting for something else.
And so, wait a minute. Exactly right. Thank you. You beat me to it.
I did it for him.
Put those Giannis fingers in the air. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see if that winds up happening. Look, and maybe this is tomorrow's topic. The East feels as wide open for the worst of all possible reasons. I mean, Jason Tatum is not going to play, and Damian Lillard is not going to play, and Tyrese Halliburton is not going to play. That's 3 superstars that go down with devastating injuries in these playoffs. What does that mean for the Miamis, for the Knicks, for the other teams in the Eastern Conference? We'll talk about it. A lot of this will get reshaped between now and Wednesday and the NBA draft, where the Mavericks are expected to take Cooper Flagg #1 overall as our NBA draft first round coverage starts Wednesday. You'll see it on ABC and ESPN.